Welcome to Subramani. I've been making I promised I'll make a series on wealth creation. So first one I made was to say you have to earn well, right? You have to earn well, you have to save smartly, and you have to invest the difference in a variety of assets. So today I thought I'll tell you the basics of compounding. I don't want to get into examples of Ram started investing at 25, Sham started investing at 35, and then what happened and things like that. There are enough examples to get on Google, right? So I'm also making this very simple so that you can send it to any kid, 8th standard and above, who understands compounding. So what is compounding? Compounding is a basic financial concept which perhaps even Albert Einstein had spoken about, saying it is the eighth wonder of the world. So you put in a small amount of money, or you put in an amount of money and let it remain for a long period of time. So you look at your the amount that you put and look what happens after 5 years, after 10 years, 15 years, and after 50 years. You have not put anything at all, right? After 5, you just put an X amount of money and then it just grew. So between 15 years and 20 years it could double, where you have done nothing. So it's very difficult for people to understand the parabolic effect of saying I did nothing, how did my money grow? Because we can understand, if I need an X amount of work done, I put 10 people and I put 20 people, more work gets done, right? Or the time taken reduces by 50% because I put more men on work. However, in compounding, you don't understand what you're putting. The most important thing which you're putting is is time. So time is the very important factor in creating wealth for you. I mean, compounding works in every fact of life, every act of life, and I've done videos showing how you can use compounding to de-addict yourself from, say, sugar. I can't do it, is a different thing, but yeah, you can do all those things. But what is the power of compounding? The power of compounding is a fundamental concept in finance that demonstrates how investments can grow exponentially over time. Compounding refers to earning, obviously it is earning interest on interest. So first year you put 100, that becomes 110. Then 110 obviously again earns 10%, so you earn 11% the next year. So that becomes 121, right? So that's easy to understand. And I want to keep this very simple, that the principal and the interest earned in the previous period also earns interest, whether you call it interest, whether you call it appreciation in equities or whatever. This leads to exponential growth because each interest itself earns interest in the subsequent periods. So let us take public provident fund, which currently gets about 7.1% return every annually. So when for 15 years, I'm not talking of any extension or anything, for 15 years if you have put 1 lakh, you could put a higher amount also, but if you put 1 lakh for 15 years, which means you have put 15 lakhs and that earned money at 7.1%, so that becomes 32,66,935, right? So that 17 lakhs is the compounding effect, which is the interest on interest. You have put 15 lakhs, that has become 32 lakhs over 15 years. But when you compound it for, say, 30 years or 40 years or 50 years, the amount becomes dramatically higher. It is not just double because of the power of compounding the interest on interest every year. So you just can't understand why the jump is so exponential. But I don't want to make this video very complicated. I want to keep it simple so that you can forward it to anybody who is say 8th standard and above, so that I mean there are thousands of examples. If you invested and over 1,000 years this would happen, after 200 years this would happen, or whatever, all those examples are there, but they just complicate matters. So let us take another example of a mutual fund where you have put 10,000 rupees every month, which looks possible for many people for a period of 20 years, and that earned you 12%. I'm not even saying you will earn 12% going forward, but I'm just saying, assuming that 12%, some number has to be assumed. So if you assume 12% and you put 10,000 for 20 years, it means you have put 24 lakhs. and compounding at 12%, that becomes 90 lakhs, which means the between the amount that you have put and amount which you are getting is more than 3 times. So right, so 3x is because of the gap. 90 minus 24, that is 66 lakhs, is because of the power of compounding. So it's 90 lakhs 50,000 232. Of course the details don't really matter. Similarly, even in the bank fixed deposit, even at 5.5% or 6.5%, your 5 lakhs would compound and it would become 6,89,000. Only problem with fixed deposits, there is annual taxation to be paid, which really hurts. So why these examples? These examples, simple plain examples which a class 8 standard student can understand. So fixed deposit also I have spoken about compounding, but it won't work because of the taxation. So let us see what are the key takeaways about compounding, right? First, time. The longer that your money is invested, the more significant is the effect of compounding. It's simple, right? So longer the period, more will be the amount of money that will be there because of more compounding. So between keeping your money for 15 years and 20 years, the money could perhaps even double depending on the rate of interest. So between 20 to 25, again the effect could be far more dramatic. So you have to understand that time is a very important portion in the formula, because the formula for compounding is A amount is equal to P, the principal that you put, into 1 plus R raised to N, right? The whole thing is raised to N. 1 plus R is raised to N. So N is in the power. So when you put 5 years or 10 years or 25 years, it is compounding, right? It is not just adding up. So 5-year amount could be 10 lakhs and 10-year amount could be 25 lakhs or 30 lakhs. It's not just double. So that could happen. And then it also depends on the frequency of compounding. The more the compounding, the better it is. The more the compounding, better it is, even whether you are repaying a loan or whether you are borrowing money. Because even if you are repaying a loan, every month, if it is calculated with a monthly rest, every month when the portion of the principal you repay, that gets reduced, so you pay on a lesser amount. So compounding is good for you. The more frequent the compounding, the better it is for you. And it is fairly obvious the rate of interest. If the rate of interest is higher, you saw that in PPF 7% compounded to how much, and in mutual fund 12% compounded to how much. So what are the practical advice that you should give to people, and just send it across to anybody who is above 8, 9, 10 years of age, because or maybe 11, 12, because class 7, class 8, when they learn about compounding. One, start early. You have no choice, but the earlier you start, the better it is. So if you're 40, don't worry, don't despair. Start at 40, because if you live to 99 or 100, you will still get 60 years of compounding. That's not bad, right? So start. Whenever you start, it is good, but the earlier you start, it is better. So some communities open a bank account for the kid the day the kid is born, or 15 days after the birth certificate is got. They have got a PAN number, they got a bank account, etc., and they start their PPF account. So by the time the child is 15 years of age, there is 32 lakhs lying there, which could be used perhaps for his or her education. So starting early makes sense. Obviously, when you're investing, you will have a diversified set of assets, and very important, that money gets reinvested. Don't interrupt the compounding. Don't take some money out, so then you're interrupting the compounding. As far as possible, don't interrupt the compounding. So I have made videos showing how you can create 1000 crores for your kid by starting early and not interrupting the compounding. Another important thing is, in the same kitty where money is being made, let's say you're putting 10,000 rupees per month in a SIP, you can do something called SIP with a jump every year. So right, step up SIP. Many mutual funds have, Nippon I think calls it step up SIP. All of them give it some name, where instead of putting 10,000 the first year, you put 10,000 in the first year, then you put 11,000, then you put 12,000 or whatever, 10, 12, 14. You keep increasing it by 2,000 per rupees every year. Obviously, it means two things. The more money you put, the better it is. The higher the rate of interest, the better it is. The longer the time that you leave it there, the better it is, right? So if you can do all of that, then you will obviously compound more. Why did I keep it so simple? It's not as though people don't know. I kept it simple so that you can forward it to your more people, more kids, and then they can also understand this. So at 22, if you think you have to do a big amount, no, not true. Start with 500, then make it 1000. Sometime you make it 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 as you go along. So just start early as you can. So if you are a parent and you have a 1-year-old kid or a 2-year-old kid, start now. If you are adult listening to it and you're 18 years of age, just start now. Whatever it is, you just start. Take 500 rupees from your parents and start. You will be able to take only parents' money till you start earning. Maybe you're 23, 24, you've started earning. Now instead of 500 rupees which you were taking from your parent, start putting 5,000 rupees. Once your income increases even more, start putting 10,000 rupees. So this is it. Start early, put as much as you can, and suddenly you get a Diwali bonus or some bonus that you get, and you have another 20,000 spare out of the 10,000 SIP that you're doing. Just go and put more into that. So the more money you put, the more frequently you put, the higher the rate of interest, the higher the compounding, more frequent the compounding, and the longer that you keep it there, you will create wealth. So this I would call the step 2 in the wealth creation process. Thank you.